It's Tuesday, July 4, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Thanks for joining us. I am Fernella Wedderburn. The doors of Little Treasures Daycare and Preschool will reopen today as the Child Care Board launches formal investigations into troubling allegations that children at the facility are being mistreated. Yesterday, Director of the board, Joan Crawford, told Barbados Today they met with the operators of the daycare and the concerns are being thoroughly investigated. At the weekend, some staff members who were sacked among a group of 10 last week, and parents took to Facebook to vent damning charges about the daycare. The operators of the nursery, however, hit back, charging that the claims were malicious and defamatory and are now seeking legal advice. They insisted that if the children were being ill-treated, it would have to be at the hands of the aunties, explaining that none of the alleged mistreatment could have occurred without the knowledge of the workers. A former staff member, however, rejected the suggestion and claimed that she and her colleagues did not stand idly by and allow the children to be treated badly. She said they made reports to the parents and called on the Child Care Board to intervene on several occasions. The nursery, which caters to over 60 children, has been in operation for 14 years. This is not the first time it has come under public scrutiny. Last year, the authorities stepped in when photos of the children sleeping in the patio were released. The Barbados Union of Teachers yesterday filed a lawsuit in the High Court against the Ministry of Education for docking its members' pay. The action came just 6 days after the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union filed a similar suit against the government. The court action was filed by the B.U.T's attorney, Gregory Nichols, in the name of 9 teachers and names June Chandler, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, as the primary defendant. B.U.T. President Pedro Shepherd said the move had been several months in coming.
Now, we would have written the ministry on numerous occasions asking for discussion, asking for retraction or review of the doctrine of pay, but we would have heard the minister would have made several comments about letting the matter go to court. The PS obviously would not have responded to some of the letters. At a meeting, they did indicate to the B.U.T. that they had sent the matter before the Solicitor General for an opinion. That was June last year. We have not been able since June last year. We've not been able since June last year to get that opinion from the Solicitor General. So we have decided that we would follow through. We'll follow through and let the court decide whether the doctrine of pay was legal or illegal, and whether the suspension of the term leave unilaterally by the Ministry of Education again was legal or illegal.
We continue with reaction from Rubis to the Fair Trading Commission's preliminary ruling on the planned sale of the Barbados National Terminal Company Limited to the Sol Group. In an initial ruling dated June 14, the FTC rejected the $100 million sale of the BNTCL owned by the Barbados National Oil Company Limited on the grounds that portions of the January 31 deal was essentially unlawful. Chief Executive Officer of Rubis West Indies, Marcio Nichols, tells Barbados Today the ruling is a victory for Barbadian consumers.
It's a preliminary ruling against the transaction, and I'm very glad the FTC has seen the negative effects of this transaction and has taken the view that the transaction would not be good for competition and would not be good for consumers. So we're very happy about that. The FTC has understood all of the negative implications of that the transaction will have, and based on it, they have decided to make a preliminary decision to reject the transaction.
Meantime, a local economist says Barbadians could face an even greater tax burden as a result of the FTC's preliminary rejection. Jeremy Stevens says government was relying on the US $100 million sale to shore up the country's dwindling foreign reserves, and the FTC's decision meant the Frondel Stewart administration would likely be forced to find the revenue from alternative sources.
Given the situation, something has to be done, and it's a case now whether it will come in the form of expenditure cut, if it will come in the form of government being slower on certain expenses, or cutting certain expenses forthright. That is announcing to the public X has to be done, or purposely or unpurposely slowing down certain expenditures so to conserve cash, or if it will come in the form of revenue. But normally you don't have that happen, and new taxes aren't really introduced outside of a budget. That's not the way we do things here. But there's nothing wrong with the Minister of Finance doing so or making an intervention in Parliament. Who knows? There's a lot of uncertainty now surrounding this event that has occurred.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Who call and get your yams and potatoes? Wait, my girl, how you want to see you for long?
I got how you keeping, but you don't sell the nation paper no more.
But that paper ain't selling. There's months now I stop selling that. Look, one time I would have make a little dollar on the sun. But when Sunday night, I still trying to get the weather there.
Well, you know you can't call that the sun no more. You're going to call that sunset news. Because at no time that news stale.
People complain that them ain't got nothing in it to read, and the price keep going up all the time. A woman abused me so sick the other day, telling me that she does read Barbados today online for free. I can't take that abusing soul, so I switched to my potatoes and yams.
Well, let me tell you, if pork selling, you got to raise pigs. How much for the yams?
Oh, 75 cents a pound.
But that's cheaper than that stale news. Give me...
How much you want?
£1.
Only a pound? Anyhow, these eating real good. Let me wrap them up for you. Come.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We continue with news from the region. Don't write off the CARICOM single market and economy. So says Secretary General of the 15 Nation Grouping, Ambassador Ulwin LaRock, ahead of today's start of the 38th CARICOM Summit in Grenada. The CSME is one of the items on the agenda of the three-day summit. LaRock admits that while there are still improvements to be made, the CSME is not getting the credit it deserves and says the region must do better of reporting its achievement.
It's constant communication to the people of the region in terms of what we're doing, what we're achieving, what we're planning, and how we go forward. And sometimes I think we take for granted what it is that we're doing. So there are a number of things that we're doing, and we just have to keep on informing our citizens. It's not just the Secretariat and the Secretary General who has to keep on doing this. The member states themselves need to say what's going on and how they're benefiting from it in terms of functional cooperation in a vast number of areas: education, health, our advocacy in the international community. All of these read down to the benefit of member states.
The CARICOM Summit will address a range of issues including crime and security, Brexit, U.S.-Caribbean relations, renewable energy, tourism, and other matters. And finally, French President Emmanuel Macron proposes a radical overhaul of his government. He says he planned to cut the number of lawmakers by a third, and if the proposed changes were not passed by Parliament within a year, he would take the decision to a referendum.
Jusqu'ici, trop souvent, nous avons...
So far, too often, we have taken the wrong path. We've preferred procedures to results, regulations to initiatives, a rental society to a society of justice. And I think by its recent choices, our people is asking us to follow a radically new path. A parliament with fewer people but strengthened in its means is a parliament where work becomes more fluid, where parliamentarians can be surrounded by collaborators who are better trained, more numerous. It's a parliament which will work better.
And that's news, but there is more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on iZoom Media and bus terminals and screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Or you can also tune in to Mix 96.9 FM for the very latest. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good morning.